Today we are talking about the craft of building confident moves on stage and in life, and how a dance conservatory stays resilient right now.
A lot of the fundraising that we do through the nonprofit, through dance-a-thons, we will then also match that. So the teachers are part of the process. The families are part of the process. Donors, everybody's part of that, because I truly believe that art should be accessible to everyone. Microscopic look on the arts was the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, people had told me outside of our industry, if you really want to scale your business, online. I was skeptical, but then I was forced to learn online, as did everyone else around the world. The chemicals that happen in your brain that are fired off only because you are in that present moment. And it's not just little kids. I think adults benefit from it even greater. Dance can change lives. We want to make that accessible to everyone.
Hi everyone, welcome to Wellness on Purpose, where creativity meets operations and Queenal. This isn't just a hype show. It's a practical chat with the leaders who turns discipline, art, and community into everyday momentum. Welcome, Jena.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, you are the director and the owner of South Coast Conservatory.
Yes.
And you're shaping the dancers and the family through spectrum of programs. I'm glad to have you on our podcast.
Happy to be here.
So let's start.
Okay.
Your journey. What is the short version of your journey into dance education?
Like many dancers, it began at a young age and it became a passion deeply rooted. And this same passion is what's been driving us ever since. I was a scholarship kid. My journey was made possible by others. And that's another tradition we continue. But in college, I studied business, also something I'm very passionate about, but kept teaching and training on the side. I would teach for free sometimes, but even when paid, it was the joy of teaching that really drove me. And then I zigzagged in my 20s like most of us do. And then I found that through all that zigzagging, an opportunity came to become a studio owner at one of the studios I was teaching at. My daughter was one. So I said, let's do this. I'll have my afternoons with my child, my evenings with other people's children. And the story began there. That was almost 23 years ago, longer than that, actually. And we've been doing it ever since. So the studio has grown every 3 to 4 years. We add another 3,000 square feet of training facilities, another location. We just added one last August, added a store, added programs. What was once just teaching dance to children and some adults and ballet, tap, and jazz is now from 9 months young to 99 plus. I think the student is 76, but we will take you in your 90s in ballet, tap, jazz, but also hip hop, acro, musical theater, aerial arts. And we serve the Southern Orange County community, which consists of over 250,000 people. So the work will never be done. There's plenty of people to inspire, to motivate, and dance is our medium. We truly believe it changes lives. And I've had the honor of helping and working alongside great educators. They push me and elevate me. We elevate each other, which then trickles down to these students. And we're constantly looking at, hey, what can we do better next year? What can we offer? How can we shift and pivot? Which has been extremely important to our organization with the ups and downs we've faced, the way the arts is always looking for funding, and the way children and families are choosing to learn both during school and after school, and even how adults treat themselves for wellness and health.
Of course, you have mentioned all the spectrum of ages. What part of this work lights up you the most? It's the teaching part, building community part, or helping students grow as a people?
The community part. And I can't say it was always that way. Of course, I mentioned teaching was what ignited that passion in my young 20s and 30s. But as I've been leading this organization and it's been growing and then working with partners throughout the community, whether they're other small businesses, municipalities, school districts, I have realized that the stronger our community is, all of us can benefit.
What type of a community service do you provide in terms of just you give a free dancing classes, or you just offer any services, or apart from any of that?
A lot. So yes, free, especially when someone wants to try it out. We want them to do this with just the expectation of be in class, be present, soak it in. But then in 2010, we founded a nonprofit so that we could be able to give more access for people that wanted more than just that introduction classes. So that nonprofit did scholarships, also taught in the schools so that students that had transportation difficulties could just take a class right after school. We've been continuing that through the nonprofit. We're now in over 60 schools, and we're continuing to partner with community colleges, more school districts, and more fundraising for scholarships. It happens every year. A lot of the fundraising that we do through the nonprofit, through dance-a-thons, we will then also match that. So the teachers are part of the process. The families are part of the process. Donors, everybody's part of that, because I truly believe that art should be accessible to everyone. It's like air.
Love that. Super clear. So for someone who is fairly new, how would you describe SSC world?
Well, I guess you'd have to ask yourself, is it like a day in the life or just a very general world? But a day in the life is, you can see me wearing a dance shirt, because you never know when you're going to need to start moving and working. And even though a lot of my responsibilities are back-end executive decisions, analytical, strategic, bringing the team together and making decisions based on all of that input. But then I get to listen to music in the background. I get to hear the giggle of children as they take a hip hop class with Mr. Tim, or the ballet master. She's playing a wonderful variation from Nutcracker. And anytime I step out of my office chair, I am seeing this magic happen all around me. Or I'm off site and I'm seeing the kids in a multi-purpose room in one of the schools. I'm on the floor a lot because that dancers are stretching. I'm down at the level of students that are 3 years old. At the end of the day, and most of our days end late because that's the arts world, I usually go home exhausted, but also with a big smile on my face. And my wheels are constantly turning about what will we do tomorrow.
That's so sweet. That's really sweet. You're wearing so many hats throughout the day.
Part of being an entrepreneur.
Of course. So why does this mission matter even more today? What are the families and students they are looking for, like in 2025, that has been different from few years ago?
What put a really microscopic look on the arts was the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, people had told me outside of our industry, if you really want to scale your business, online. I was skeptical, but then I was forced to learn online, as did everyone else around the world. And what we discovered is half the benefits from the arts aren't just through learning steps and technique. The benefit is the social well-being, the sense of belonging, the sense of setting goals, being inspired by others. That community connection in the very small classroom to the broader studio and stage, it can't be replaced online. We tried. All of us. And unanimously, we all discovered that without that social connection, without coming together, the arts is not the same. So now looking at that, we are really leaning into all those social, emotional, the chemicals that happen in your brain that are fired off only because you are in that present moment. And it's not just little kids. I think adults benefit from it even greater, because we are in meetings just like this, talking with our backgrounds at our desks. And then we go and take a class and we're dancing and we're laughing alongside people. We're inspired by people. We're challenging ourselves, both physically, artistically, cognitively. And it's really unique. Getting the message out there to families who are trying to figure out, how do I connect with my kid? Like, we do a lot of SEL, that's social emotional learning for kids on the spectrum. We do classes with kids with disabilities, because it goes back to that same thing. Dance can change lives. We want to make that accessible to everyone. That's what's our challenge, is finding out, okay, how do we teach this class to really make an impact? How do we make it accessible? How do we let parents know the best balance? They have busy schedules, lots of emails and texts and notifications coming in about their children. It's like, how do you shift through all that noise to find the right path for your kid? Our biggest challenge is finding the way to connect with the parents, to be a partner in that journey with them, so that they go, I can trust a few people with my child. And South Coast is one of those groups of people that I'm like, here, my kid is always happier when they jump in the car after this experience. And we're constantly trying to figure out how to make that connection. So it's a constant thing of, I want to go back. I can't wait for the next thing. And that is how kids stay out of trouble. That's how kids find a sense of confidence in themselves, how they meet friends for life, how they decide to set goals. It's great to see. I love watching my alumni come back and visit and hearing their stories.
So do they come back and for alumni meet, or do you do alumni meet?
We often find them more just celebratory moments For example, one of our alumni had a party, a going away party last Saturday, and a bunch of other alumni came. We also connect on social media groups as well. One of our alumni is on reprieve from Houston Ballet and Winnipeg Ballet. And he's like, okay, I'm here in my home community. I want to do some great projects here. What do you suggest? So just having all that excitement when they come home and to spread that. And we want to just continue to have more and more alumni come back where their roots are and strengthen the community as well.
Wonderful. That detail is really gold. I mean, giving out to the community. I'm sure it'll, at the end of the day, it's all worth for you when you go back to sleep.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, yeah, it all matters is what we did in our days, either truthful or magic. Dancing is stress buster for me.
For everyone. I mean, with a couple of darkest days of my life, I found myself dancing to just release and absorb. So release everything bottles up inside of you and all the woes of your life. You start sweating, the music starts connecting with you, and all of a sudden you're like, I can do this. And so it's a very powerful tool.
Couldn't agree more. We are taking it to the next level now. Let's talk about the challenges.
Okay.
We all have a happy story, but behind this happy story, we have a mountains of challenges.
Oh, don't we? It's like the ocean waves. Sometimes they trickle in, sometimes they come crashing in, and you feel like you're going to drown. Challenges like COVID hit our industry hard, for sure. That was the most recent one. Still recovering in certain ways because now there are waves of kids that took a hiatus from learning. Prior to that, you take it as a great compliment, but when your employees spin off and decide to create their own business and take, students with them, you have to rebuild and recover from that. Mm-hmm. So I've had some employees where I'm like, let me help you. I know this is your goal. And then others that did it behind, the closed doors and it surprised you later. But that's a kind of a common practice in the wellness industry. You'll see Pilates studios spin off and create another Pilates studio. Other challenges like bad press from things that you have no control over, just recovering. I could get into detail about some of them, but the bottom line is once you're faced with this challenge and it will hit you on a random Tuesday, knowing that you do have a network around you, you feel like it's all on your shoulders. It's your instinct to start defending and getting angry at the world. But where I've found the strength in getting through those challenges and really going, okay, universe, I'm about to learn something here through all of this. What is it? And then leaning on these incredible people that have been part of my journey, both professionally, my family, my personal connections. I've learned the more you ask for help, the greater that learning becomes.
Where does the experience tend to slip most of these days? Either it is new inquiries, trial to enrollment, or staying consistent after the first month.
So on the business challenges, yes, enrollment is constant. You'll never have a perfect number. It is constantly moving. So looking at best strategies for marketing, whether it's, one-on-one, a funnel, if you will, because if you realize every decision that we all make does not happen in one moment. It's a lot of little decisions. So having a lot of touch points along the way. It's like an article they saw from a great press release to an ad they saw on social media, or they started searching organically and found you there. A neighbor says, oh, my daughter went there. All of these touch points, maybe that first trial class and going in and going, I'm not sure if I belong yet. I don't know how to do this. And then assuring them, everyone feels that way. This is part of that first class process, making them feel welcome. Then even the follow-up after that first class, maybe they only do a month's worth, then finding their goals. It is constantly making those touch points that have been vital for us. And then retention has to be also as important. That teacher has to make a true lasting connection. So you're thinking about the right kind of lesson plans, the right kind of yearly schedule. How can they set goals? What are those goals? When can we deliver them in a consistent fashion? So very detailed for us. We have the opportunity of performance. That's art. We love it. That is one of our strongest retention activities that we do. You're going to perform 2 times a year. That's up in front of an audience, own this moment, whether they're doing aerial arts up in the air or they're doing, ballet on point shoes, everything in between. That moment is where they get the true euphoric high of like, I did it with no help from a teacher, with a full audience in front of me. Additionally, we want to evaluate them and let them know their progress. That's another retention factor. Then we have students that will stay all the way till their senior year because their senior year is a very special year. With adults, we even have adults that compete. That's a retention factor. They'll show up because they've made a commitment to their adult team that we're going to go take this crew out on a stage. So I'm going to make this commitment to myself because I made it to others. Whether it's a new student or a retained student, every day, these very specific steps, these touch points are vital. We find that when we slack and don't make these touch points and don't follow through on all these details, that's when the enrollment will slip. The retention will drop. Marketing strategies can be highly ineffective. You can spend thousands on AdWord campaigns and meta campaigns and magazine ads. It really doesn't resonate with your message, with the right call to action to the right audience. You're wasting your money, you're wasting your time. How you're representing yourself in marketing has to be who you actually are. For myself as a business owner and like our marketing team, because we're inside, we're inside the spaghetti jar. We think it's all wonderful in here, but we can't read the label from the outside. We don't know how other people see us. So big part of that is a lot of market research. It's asking others, hey, can you take a moment and survey us? And I ask very specific questions like, how likely in a party are you to say something wonderful, favorable, and it's like the, 5-point scale? Or in a party, how likely is it that you'll hear about us? Very unlikely. And it's like, if it's very unlikely, we got work to do, guys. Or we ask open-ended questions. Those tend to be really hard to measure, but they're very helpful for us to know their story from that market research. And then pricing is everything, because you price too low, you can't pay your bills, and you can undercut everybody else. And that hurts the whole industry. It hurts the whole community. You price too high and people are having to really want to do this, and so there's that constant calibration of like, what can you afford to offer? What should you for a value perception? And things are changing. Like millennial parents don't have the same discretionary income as Gen X parents did. So you're like, okay, how do we get creative here? How do we still get the same benefits, but for a little less cost to parents without overwhelming them? So video used to be one of those lower costs. Parents are like, I cannot sit here and make sure my kid is not going to hurt themselves while they learn how to dance on a video. That's just not going to happen. I want to be able to give my child to someone I trust to give them this moment, and you get to sit back and enjoy and watch. So all those business struggles, from marketing to research to pricing strategy, operations as well. Like, to me, I feel if you really take care of your team, then they'll take care of your customers. Of course. That's like, the team is my customer. It's like, are you doing my touch points with them regularly, not a once a year evaluation, but like today after this, I'm going to have like 6 or 7 one-on-ones because I'm going out of town for 3 days. But these one-on-ones are so important. And I do mostly listen. I'll ask a few just probative questions to learn more, but they're telling me because they know their jobs better than I do, because I want them to. The long ago days where it's like, trickle down, let me tell you what to do, yes, ma'am, are done. They are now more of like I love this word, instead of leadership, more like teamship, because everyone in my organization is a leader in their own way. And if they think leading, like you got to pull the team up with you. No, the team goes with each other together. We're constantly firing off ideas. We're sometimes critical of the ideas. And it took a while, honestly, to be that truthful with each other. And when we bring in a new player, we have to kind of wait a little bit until that new player goes, oh, you just called that person out on not knowing something. Okay, we do that here. That's good. But yeah, so those are all the behind the scenes driving our business.
Wonderful. I mean, it's good that you are open to more ideas and open to your team. And of course, that you said that your team is your customer and you are taking care of your customers. As you say in the business, customers first. Touch points these are the most important things for you to stay consistent.
Consistency is for everything. How I work with the business, like you just mentioned, the employees are more like my customers, which means I can't let them run amok. The customers can't choose when, where, what, and how, and why, because they're not necessarily the experts that have been doing this for years and years. However, their experience is vital. Their knowledge is vital. So for me, with my employees, making that connection, getting their knowledge, getting their contributions, but at the same time, structuring things so my experience and my data, the data they bring in can help that structure get stronger. They both are identical and touch points are key, but then it's not just having the information, but acting on the information.
Yep.
For me to act, I literally have to set aside think time. And I have like a little icon on my schedule that is earphones. It's like, please don't bug me. I'm not listening right now. I have to take all this data in and do stuff with it, whether I'm analyzing, connecting other pieces together, and then working with partners on that too. Because even though this is my business and I know it better than anyone else, I do, again, am inside that spaghetti jar and I can't see it from the outside. So I have to lean on others on the outside who continue to grow, pivot, make an impact.
So let's talk about the team. What kind of a work eats the most time each week? It's a follow-up, scheduling classes, billing questions, performances, event logistics, or maybe the parent messaging.
The part that eats at my team the most, honestly, is the emotional part, which is a double-edged sword. Well, good because it cuts through right to the heart of things. And that's really what gives them their passion.
Mm-hmm.
It also cuts through right to the heart because they will feel change. They will feel frustration, whether it's a teacher, a director, or even someone that's working the desk. When someone is upset, they don't have a wall. They just bring it all in and they feel that emotion. And so it's kind of important. No, it's extremely important to go, hey, don't take it in, understand them. So teaching empathy is a constant part of our world. We teach it to each other because we don't want to lose that sponge factor of absorbing emotions, but we also want to know what to do with it and how to do it well. I would say it's one of the most difficult parts in the wellness industry and the arts industry because we work with people and we are so emotionally connected to our work and to those people. It's our greatest joy and strength. It's also one of our biggest weaknesses. So yeah, that's the hard one, honestly. And I don't have a magic answer on that one. I just know that we have to be aware when it happens and aware of, like, rather than saying, oh, this hurts so much, to find out like a family member has just lost their spouse and they have to withdraw and they're so upset about everything, and you just take it in and you just sit alongside with them and say, I'm going to find a way to help. Even though you have no answers yet, you just sit with them. But then we have other things like, you communicated this wrong and I don't read emails and I got charged erroneously and I'm very, very angry. And you're like, I know you're angry and you want to be defensive. Yes, things sometimes don't work out. And it's like, let them be angry, but at the same time go, we're going to make this right. And sometimes making it right means doing nothing but listening and just go, okay, I'm sorry that program is full.
Mm-hmm.
We do have other alternatives, those kind of day-to-day, like ways to be patient. So I find we train more in how to emotionally connect with others on a mature or emotional intelligent way, just as much as we work on procedures and systems.
Wonderful. I mean, of course, I understand that on a daily basis, or not on a daily basis, but emotional side of it. But when we are talking about operational side of it, so what challenges them?
Operationally, a lot of it, actually, because many of them, their background is not in business. It's not in sales. Their background was in their craft, whether it's a Pilates teacher or an acrobatic arts teacher. That's what they know. And they know it really well, but then they're thrust to do a meeting agenda, not their forte. They're thrust into handling communications with parents, communication, not their forte. Or I have to offer a new program. I need to structure a price for this, not their forte. So a lot of our teachers or directors are put into a position of something outside their comfort zone. And many of them will just ignore it because I don't know how to do this, I'll deflect. But in our team, we really say, no, learn. Just like you ask your students to learn something they're not comfortable with. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable is what our motto is, because you're going to be really excited once you figure it out, just like your students.
So most of your teachers are your team members. Like,
yes.
Is it for every location?
Yes. So it's rare that a teacher can just walk in, teach, and leave. That's only part of it. The biggest part is the connection with those students, those touch points. And if you don't have a system to keep that organized, then how are you going to know you connected with all of them? Spreadsheets or something that my teachers have learned. They're like, wait, how do you do that formula again? And then using Google Workspace, that we do a lot of that with. So project management and communication within that Google Workspace. workspace. They've learned things like, oh, I now know how to do Google Forms. That way I can get all the information back from my students, their parents. The backside of it, the admin side, they're so surprised with. I have teachers from Russia, Albania, Ukraine, Peru. And so English is not even their first language. And so then they're like, and now you want me to learn how to do spreadsheets? Okay. And they're really great. They love AI. We're training on how to use it in the best capacity for them other than just, write an email. And they're kind of getting excited about it. They're like, oh, wait, I never thought to ask it to make this form for me so I can figure out, where their goal setting is. So I get a lot of joy from seeing them grow as individuals and constantly asking them, what's your next goal for you to develop as a person? As again, if they're developing as a person, they're bringing it back into the classroom. And so it just trickles down.
Well, that's smart. It'll keep them busy. They will not treat their a day as just a teacher, but of course, be a part of it and make it work as a team.
This industry has a lot of part-timers.
Wow.
And it always has, whether it's in dance or if it's in any wellness, like a personal trainer. Most of the opportunities out there are very part-time, which means you either have to teach at a lot of different places, a lot to juggle, or you have to have another job, a side gig, if you will, or maybe teaching is your side gig. My vision in the next 20 years is to create more careers, more full-time work. And that is only possible by our industry coming together, whether it's the wellness industry, the dance industry, instead of having all these small fragmented businesses coming together so those teachers can have one employer and have full-time. It's rare. I'm one of the very few studios I know that offers health benefits and retirement benefits and paid time off. I'd like to make that mission grow so that we can help more teachers have those benefits, just like any other career.
It's like a coming wellness in a one shed.
Yes. Yeah. Because if your teachers aren't well, how are they going to teach wellness?
Of course. I truly agree with your mission. So how is it easy to see the whole journey maybe of a one student, like one who inquired, who tried, who joined, who is at the risk, and what's the hardest to track or act on quickly?
So this is where software comes in. And we are very grateful for it. Every industry has like software that works really well and software that doesn't. And this is where AI is great as well, because the data of that journey helps us see the picture. So you need the software that can contain all the data and organize it. Those touch points of like, when were they emailed? When were they texted? When were they called? What class did they take last week? Did they add on more? Did they take a break? The studio's been around for 34 years. So we're talking about paper days.
Oh my God. Yeah. Those days.
Yes, punch cards, physical, like punch the hole cards. It has come so far. And because the technology has enabled us to gather that data all in one place, it means we can then really work on the human and let the machines handle the data. But we all as a team have to consistently agree to use the software in the same fashion. So that's where someone like myself comes in. I say, okay, here is the procedure, because we all follow the same procedures so that we can get consistent data. And then you can go back, go back to the software and go, oh, this is where this kid is at this journey. We'll have one student that will often have over the lifetime with our business, 8 different teachers, maybe go into dozens of different classes. We've had students with us for 20 years. I think there is one student that's been with us since our doors opened in 1992. And we have the whole mapped out journey of her, every class she took, what she likes, why she kept doing it, what engaged her, what retained her, all that stuff. But yes, software is key. So for any business, finding it, the one that matches yours, is very important. And once you find it, getting your whole team to agree to use it in the same way. I've had software before when everyone was using it slightly different and it becomes a database mess, just a rat's nest of like crisscrossed information, all these different offerings. You can't see the journey. So you as the business owner have to set the boundaries so that it can be used in a similar fashion.
So what kind of a software are you using?
I used to use MindBody Online from like 2007 all the way up until 2022. But we found that it was written on old code. And so we had growing pains with it. it had growing pains. We switched to Moments 3 years ago. We're actually on our third season with it. The migration was overnight, which was great. The training process of the team, which at that time, our team was about 36 employees. And so that's a lot to learn new software in a matter of 30 days, but they did. It was very intuitive, user-friendly. I love it because of the analytics it's providing, and it's all in one. Everything we do is cloud-based now, and you're either in the software for students, everything student-related, or you're in the Google Workspace for everything operational planning, the behind-the-scenes related. If you work in any other space, any other SaaS, that's not for our company. So we want to keep everything very simple, very unified as well.
My last questions. If you have a magic wand to fix one thing that would move everything else, what would you pick?
Just one thing. That's too hard. A magic wand to develop trust immediately. That would be lovely. It takes months, sometimes years to truly develop trust, and it takes a split second to break it. And if a magic wand could reverse that and make trust instant and breaking trust gradual, that would be lovely.
Oh, wow. That's so heartfelt. You took time, but yeah, that was quite amazing. Building trust is really difficult, but to tell you the truth, I trust everybody unless they broke my trust.
You and I are rare birds then, because most people go, we'll see. And it will take time. It'll proof. I think that's why now, even me as a business owner, in my third decade of doing it, finally people are like, oh, we trust you because you've been in this community doing this long, whether it's municipalities or school districts. You know, if I had reached out to them 2 decades ago and asked, they wouldn't even have answered my phone call or email. It takes a long time, very long time.
True that. Okay, Jena, thanks again for a thoughtful conversation, sharing your journey and the real talk. So for everyone who is listening, thank you and see you next time on Wellness and Purpose. Thank you.
Thank you.